I had a new perspective, a new understanding of the Lord's Prayer today. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and please forgive us, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. That is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. Now, that's the prayer. That's how I say it. Our Father, who art in heaven. And I was looking out my window, and I have plants sitting in my seal. There are trees in the background. It was very beautiful. The sun was starting to go down. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thank you for creating all of this. Being able to look outside and just see God's creation, that's beautiful. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And that's giving rejoice to it. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Thy will be done. That showed up different. I've noticed lately that I've been thinking a lot different since my parents had passed last year, especially after my dad died, having both of them go. It put me in a different state. And now that a little more than a year has passed, being in grieving and recovery, thy will be done. A lot of what we've been taught has been backwards. And it's actually a lot of, if you want to say ancestral programming or childhood conditioning, these are little tomato in my mind. My grandparents were raised during the Depression. They had their ways to get through that time era. My father and mother grew up during the majority of it was the 60s, and into the 70s is their, teens and early adulthood. They didn't have the consciousness that we have nowadays. They didn't have the resources. We are now a global network, and if you weren't taught something or read a book from afar, your mind did not expand past your little realm, cut a slice of life. So, thy will be done. Earthly ways is not God ways. Thy will be done. We keep operating in human ways, but we're supposed to be operating in spirit ways, and that means healthy boundaries and respect and mutual exchange, reciprocity, like Jesus probably would have done. I really think we missed the memo on that. He was trying to teach us how to be the best humans, and the people of that era just could not understand that. Because he was so gorgeous in all that he did, their little minds just couldn't cope. Okay, so their will be done. We're not operating in healthy ways. Thy will be done. I have to say it. Sorry. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. That's the seal of that last bit. If we do heavenly ways here on earth, instead of this, cyclical, mental, unhealed, working our traumas out through other traumas, trying to replay the script until the play ends differently. It's not heavenly. It's not heavenly. It's not integrous either. It will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, which can also be our spiritual food. Most people know that already. Please forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. And I was thinking about a man who had disrespected me a few months back. And tales all the time. I actually like this guy, but I didn't, there was a moment of enjoyment, I'll say, encounter, enjoyful counter, but then that's all it was. And instead of communicating that life was going to turn, it was just a blackout, a ghost. And so that's all it was. So please forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I was doing a little sleuthing, I'm not going to lie. And the codependent urge in me was, let's go drive by and see. Or pretend, go in and pretend that you didn't know that location. Lead us not into temptation of codependent thinking, codependent thoughts. Those are not the ways of heaven. Codependency, if we have codependency, it really should be on God. It really, really should be. Because change is the only thing you can actually bet on. It's the only constant in our entire multiplex of existence. And God's the only center, because God is the creator. So please forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation of bad behaviors. I didn't really have the urge, I'm not as codependent now as I once was. I don't think I'm codependent at all at the moment, to be honest. I've been forged by fire, and yes, I would love to have the love of another and have it reciprocal, but I guess God's still working on that for me. In order to live healthy ways, or be healthy humans, we need to kind of relax. Stop making it more difficult than it really is, or it needs to be. How much time and effort would it have been to, get dressed, get in the car, and go sleuth a location? That's not healthy. That's not healthy. I'm not a PI, I'm not a detective, I'm not even Action X. It was just somebody that I met. And I want to resolve the disrespect in somehow. But the closure of that is the forgiveness. And because we do act in codependent ways sometimes, a little stalkery or fixated and, God forbid, obsessed, that's a whole nother demon. it's a calmer way of going about things. There's all this effort and energy that we put into these desires that we have. And desires are, they're produced by, our upbringing, our humanization of sorts. Like, let's see. I have no desire to, drink a lot. I mean, wine tastes pretty good, at least the right wines, not all of them. Merlot tastes like liquid fireplace. Gross. Anyway, but somebody else's desire, because of whatever happened in their lives, they enjoy. They look forward to drinking that whole bottle of wine. The taste of it, how it's going to make them feel for a while. They'll go off to sleep or not even know they fell asleep because they were so drunk. And that's a desire. They actually have an urge to go to it. And, that's a thought. Pick a desire, any desire. But I don't have those desires. And that's how each one of us is different. And anything that kind of rules us, an urge, a compulsion, is not us. Because heavenly ways are calmer. There's a, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Earth as it is in heaven. Bring down some heavenly attitudes. If you find yourself just kind of doing something out of repeat, examine that. Humanize. Patterns. Patterns are everywhere. Our whole universe is made out of patterns. Patterns. And, depending on the trauma, you can kind of guess. There's at least a handful of ways people work that out. And, 2 to 3 of the 5 is going to be accurate across the board. It's patterns. Patterns. But the temptation, I know this prayer is viewed in so many different ways. I'm pretty sure that's why Jesus gave it to us. And I'm not a Bible thumper. I have not done my Bible study as I should have. I have not done it. I'm just going to be honest. I have not done it. Job. I've done Job, but that's the only one I did. I get along with that guy. I understand. When I was young and in church, we would, on the occasion that we go, passively regular. It was the prayer that Jesus gave us. And it was the only prayer that we would need. And I do know from my own research and information gathering that many have said that in the original Aramaic or even Latin, it's very precise and in the meanings and what it is. But temptation isn't always, just a food or, an alcohol or, it's not even just sex. It's just doing things that you feel it. You feel it because there's an inner battle within you to do it. This huge urge to let's do that. And that's not you because you're not from Earth. Your body is, but you're the same being from birth that you are to now, and that's your soul. And we were all beautiful babies. Everyone oohed and awed at us, until they humanized us. Oh, let me hold the baby. Oh, she's so sweet. Look at him. Isn't he? He's just going to be a heartbreaker. And then they finally meet you because you get a little older and God's giving you a personality, and you start doing the things that they taught you to do, and they don't like that. And the mimic game starts, and then they start disliking you because they have taught you their ways. Their ways. They've imprinted over your original design. And that's why we come into this conundrum of finding our purpose, is because we have not been operating on our original modus operandi from God. But I think, that's probably part of the point, but at the same time, like, it's going to take several, like, we've already seen the last 100 years, a lot of spike in consciousness, and also a spike in neurosis. And I only recently heard this, I don't even remember where I heard it, but a safe society increases neurotic tendencies, I guess. I don't remember the quote exactly, but I've thought about that, and I agreed with this, and when I heard it, I was like, yes, second time confirmed, thank you. Because this, every time in my healing journey, every time I've felt safe, I become unhappy. And I become unhappy because I'm safe to finally explore those emotions. I'm in a safe zone to address them. Break down later. That was one of my family's patterns, and to an extent, it's effective. If you got something right in front of you, handle that, no matter how bad it is, if you can, handle that, and then off to the side, later break down. It's okay to break down, because, think of ERs, they see some gruesome shit, and they just have to task it out. And then it's not until after the patient is, to the second point, after triage or, whatever stage, they finally figured out something and the patient is passed along to the next team, that those nurses and doctors or whomever has heard those stories, saw them before they were cleaned up. They were the ones cleaning them up. And then they have to go home, drive home, take breaks, whatever, and bawl, because you cannot work efficiently with tears in your eyes. If you wipe away your tears, in the medical profession, you'd be contaminating things, but then your hands will become slippery. Like, if you don't have gloves on, you can't use your hands to task. And so it's a breakdown later, soldiers, it's that fight or flight moment. Breakdown later. You're in a safe zone to finally address the unsafe traumas, the unsafe feelings. Oh, I'm kind of rambling right now. But the Lord's Prayer, temptation isn't, it's not, anything so said. It's whatever you're experiencing that that it isn't right. Like, I used to compulsively eat, and I didn't know why. And I would be in tears, and I would still be eating, and I couldn't stop. And I was just so upset about that. And I was on the floor and crying. It was, just, for all intents and purposes, a very pathetic moment. But, I once my parents passed away, my mother, she was debilitated very early in my life, and so my father became our primary parent. And it was a horrible time on him, and he kind of just didn't. He just subconsciously took it out on us, and now we have our own neuroses and conflicts and whatnots. And a few months after he had passed, I went through the dark night of the self, and it was his. Anything I had come across, I kind of operated more as him than anything, because those are the ways I was taught. And I kept wondering why my life wasn't working, because I'm not on my operating system. I was probably compulsively eating because my father has an eating problem, which he does. He had a big old belly. He always said something about low self-esteem, all that stuff. You see how it's kind of inherited? It's inherited by them actually being themselves and us witnessing and not deciding for ourselves, because we don't know to decide for ourselves because we're little children. You know, like, oh, everyone in our family's big. That's a lie. That's not true at all, because, cousin whatever over there is skinny mini. Well, she, her mama married in, blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. No. See, we're just justifying weird shit now. Like, we are humanized. What is our original design? Like, I don't know how it would play out here on Earth. If we're beautiful baby, little, stuff like that. And what if we, somehow didn't have that filter, those obstacles? Like, who would we actually be if we were properly, fostered and flourished? Who is that person? So this also reminds me, I know I've thought about this before, and I read this book a while back. It's the thickest book I've ever read. The content is meaty, okay, and it's like a 1/4 inch thick. It's a book by Octavia Imelda Schocklink, and it's titled "What Are You?" It's from 1929, I believe. And I would have to read one paragraph like 3 times just to be like, do what? Because it was just so meaty. And, but yeah, she's saying we're humanized. She equivalated spiritual amnesia with physical amnesia. So if you had physical amnesia, you're shipwrecked, the hypothetical story. You've hit your head, you're shipwrecked, you're in a land that you don't belong to. Do you like ice cream? I don't know. I can't remember. And then what if you end up trying all the ice creams? Let's say somebody takes you to, 31, and you try all of them. And you decide that you like, mint chocolate chip and, I don't know, anyway, your favorite one's mint chocolate chip. And then people that knew you prior to your incident meet you, and you like chocolate or mint chocolate chip ice cream, and they're like, you hated ice cream in general. And you're just sitting there licking a cone or, slurping a malt. If we didn't have all this, training and conditioning, what would we decide? What would we decide? And I can see that now that my parents have gone. Like, the compare and contrast is quite stark. And the way I live my life is definitely not the way my dad lived his life. Like, I had been trying to break free for a while. I felt too guilty to do it all the way. That's another one of those things. See how it's inherited? They give you guilt. Okay, because they are not healed, and so they want to make you feel the same way you feel. That way you understand, or they train you to understand them. Get it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, temptation may not quite be ours either. May not quite be ours either. Because if we're taught how, if we're imprinted upon by the previous human generation, then, and they traumatized us with, whatever their beings were like, and then we end up with these desires that we're tempted by. Maybe the previous generation didn't actually give in to their desires, but the next one would. Man, I wish I could just drink my life away. And then the kid does it. Life would be so much easier if I didn't have to do anything. Or something to that effect, And obviously there's lots of stories out there where people decide different for themselves all the time. And that's the heavenly ways, I think. I think that's the switchover. When people leave their families, we've heard stories about that. People leave their families almost out of nowhere because they're just fed up. They don't even leave an explanation. They just hit the road, and live their own life because they're just like, wow, that's not really my family. That's not my soul. That's not where I need to be. And so they go on. And then the people that stick to, to all the beliefs and sign up and like, yes, I'm just like you. Yes, I'm codependent. Yes, I'm going to operate in the world. I idolize you so much, Dad, Mom. I'm going to be like you. And then you live your life. But okay, so let's say your parent was successful, but you can't seem to get their success. It's because that's not yours. It's not your programming. It's not your modus operandi. It is the wrong recipe. So why do we do this? Because of heavenly ways and people don't like to believe in God and blah, 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 blah. This place was already here when we got here. Shut your fucking mouth. God doesn't exist. It just popped into existence because you popped into existence? I think not. Move a cloud. Make a cloud. Fuck. If you don't believe in God, I'm sorry, but make a cloud. Pop something into existence. Create an ecosystem so well that people have to study it for 50 years to maybe get a half glimpse of it. Like, it's ridiculous. It was already here, y'all. Something is moving everything without us having to do anything. And we use one of the smallest words to describe the biggest thing.